All right. Hello, world. We are Semiahmoo Arts Society, and today we'll be talking with Annick Lemay. She's just published her first book, Midnight Thought Poetry, has some visual art and photography in it as well. Over the past week, I've been reading it, and I think it's a really wonderful book. The poetry, it's very honest, it's very direct. It imparts a lot of perspective, and in many ways, I feel like the book is like an ode to I don't know, being a human being or something. So I'm really excited to talk with Annick today, and I'm really happy she's taken. Annick, how are you doing today?
Fine, thank you. Very grateful to be here. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Semiahmoo Arts. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Uli. Thank you, everyone. It's been wonderful. You've been very supporting force behind this whole
Awesome.
thing.
Yeah, the poems, especially the first one, it almost has like a bit of like philosophical influence. Is just a coincidence? Am I picking up on something that's not there? Do you have sort of like an Eastern philosophical background at all?
No, you know what? I have a little bit of everything. Like literally, I've been reading all my life, and so no, this is more of my personal experience and their musings, their thinking, they're my thoughts, right? And yeah, there might be some Eastern influences or Western influences or a little bit of everything. It's what is my truth, my perspective, what is what I think about, of the human experience.
Yeah.
Like I think, I hope.
It is like a really relatable book. I'll say like in the first poem, I love the first poem because it's like, it has that sort of perspective that like good cannot exist without evil, pleasure cannot exist without pain, and I like because you might wish that you had no pain or something like that, but like without that, then like life wouldn't be life itself, right?
Well, yeah, you can't you need to see the other side and realize that it was necessary. It was necessary in order to make you appreciate the experience afterwards, right? And sometimes, and it's all good. It's about, growth, and it's about walking your path in life, right? And actually, it's not like we have a choice. I mean, life comes to you as it comes, and we go through things. Everybody, as a species, as humans, that's what it is.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, and it's about it's not about the destination. It's about the road. It's about the path. It's about enjoying it, right? Because that's all you have. It's right now. And
I would say like to appreciate something, you kind of have to experience like the opposite.
I think like it's like you really appreciate. It really gives you a sense of the true feeling of what that was, and what it's like to know the knowledge of it, the experience of it, the something that you have now internalized and made you wiser as a human being because of it, right? Bigger, stronger, heavier, more complete.
You learn from it. You grow stronger from any difficulties in life, for sure.
Yeah, that's the first poem. I wrote that probably about 15 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that it's called Midnight Thoughts. It's like the book, and that's why it's the first one, right? Yeah, it's and from there the whole book just sort of comes up.
So the book, it's been a over the past year. You've always been writing poetry.
No. I have always been. I've been writing since I was a kid. I've always been writing. Yes, like I've been writing. That was my first art form, if you want. Yes, I've been. My parents always gave me a lot of. Everybody's an avid reader around me. I like there's books everywhere, and everybody likes to read their own thing. Like my mom is an artist, an incredible artist.
Yeah.
And she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 2 years ago, and that's when I decided to put this thing for her. It took a life of its own, like this thing of it getting published and so on. That wasn't the original intention at all. And so I started putting some things together that I had, and then I met George from Rutherford Press, and it was like this, the second person that I approached when I decided that yes, I'm going to do this for her, and he took it. and it was the first publisher that I approached, literally, that published poetry, and he loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asked for, and that was huge because I wasn't doing that at all. I've always loved photography, and I've always loved to sort of dabble with it, but to, like, make art where I'm going to publish it together with my poetry. No, that was the intention. So it naturally, like, it forced me to put this thing together and then to match the poetry to the art and the photography that I came up with.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, every illustration has at least 30 to 40 versions of it until I was happy with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then match it to text, to the poet, to the poem that I was writing on. And like that for with whatever, it's I don't know how many poems are in there, but
Mm-hmm.
there's lots, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it naturally became an art book at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
So,
really happy with it. I think
mm-hmm.
it's a good job, well done at the end of the day. But yes, it
Mm-hmm.
was it was a lot of work.
It's a long time coming, yeah. So, where did you grow up, and what kind of literature were you exposed to when you
Okay,
was
so
heavily very literate? They like to read a lot.
well, yeah, my dad loves to read. My grandmother was a French teacher.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was an artist, and she was totally into the art world and reading like she was a walking encyclopedia, well read. And they used to pass me stuff, right? My grandmother too. Um, so some of it was in French, some of it was like maybe 11 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me Hamlet. I think it was Hamlet, and Kipling. Were the
Mm-hmm.
ones that I remember. Heavy, what is now considered like heavy
Mm-hmm.
literature. That for me, I didn't know that it was
Yeah.
heavy. But yeah, I really liked it. So like it was just and I love to read, and I still
Mm-hmm.
do. Like I feel lost completely if I don't have something to read. I have to have
Hmm.
something. It's like my constant companion. It's like
Mm-hmm.
where I find myself. I love to read. I love
Yeah.
to write. I need them around.
Mm-hmm. What
So
was sort
yeah.
of like
So
the first books that you read as a kid that really like blew your mind, that really drew you in and helped you fall in love with the literary art form? Do you remember which ones those
you know,
were?
wh- well, you know what? I Kipling
Oh
was
yeah.
definitely the poem if you can keep your head when all about you can, yada yada. That's been a companion in my life that my dad gave to me when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jungle Book, the real Jungle Book from Kipling, the original story, not the Disney one, that was, that was, yeah, that blew me away in terms of
Mm-hmm.
literature. Yeah, and then, other stuff. But yeah, those two I remember very well.
Hmm. Sorry, I'm just making sure like the stream's working. It's like
Is it
I think it's
working?
working. I think it is. We got a comment from someone.
Did you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hmm. I hope
I'll be
it's
happy to answer questions here if anybody has.
listening. Ask questions because we're here for you.
Uh,
Okay, I can ask you. I guess when did you start sort of creating art? Was literature the first art form that you really got into making?
Yeah, well, that's what I've always been doing. And then around, I don't know, maybe in my early adolescence or early 15, I moved with my mom, and she had this huge real artist studio. We had lots of space, so that was great. And I
Mm-hmm.
started doing nudes in sculpture with clay,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it. So that was my first. Nothing to do with painting or drawing or photography or
Mm-hmm.
anything. Right? That's new. That's very relatively recent.
Mm-hmm.
I used big pieces like 2 feet tall of nudes, and
Mm-hmm.
by 18 I was selling my pieces. I mean, I sold
Oh,
pieces,
awesome.
and yeah, but then I dropped it. Like I just stopped doing it. And actually, I want to get back into it this
Mm-hmm.
winter. if I can, that's one of my projects that I want to do, is get back into sculpture. I love the feel of clay and the
Mm-hmm.
water and the softness and the yeah. So and that is yeah. So writing and sculpture were my first things as a very as a kid, and then I
Mm-hmm.
dropped art altogether forever.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was the artist. She was an extraordinary artist, and I mean it was like even it never even occurred to me to start doing anything art related because I it's not that it was a competition thing. Is that when you have a
Mm-hmm.
parent that is very good at what they do,
Yeah.
you don't even at least to me it
You
was
don't want to be
like
in their
no, I'll never.
shadow almost.
No, like no, it was something that. And then when she got sick, and the publisher asked me for my own art for illustrations because he had seen a couple of things and he liked it. He said, like I want those as illustrations for the book.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it sort of gave me permission,
Mm-hmm.
to just okay, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna try give it a shot, right? And it turns
Mm-hmm.
out that I have a facility with it. I have an easiness, and I can get into the zone and just let it
Mm-hmm.
go through too, just like with writing or
Mm-hmm.
eh, or sculpture, and it just feels like the energy goes through and happens. Then that's what it's all about for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
First and
Yeah.
foremost, like I don't create for anyone or with any kind of specific, you know, um, any kind of specific. I'm
You
gonna
don't
do
create
this
for other
for
people,
this
it's
or
for
for other
yourself, right?
people, not no. And if something turns out that it looks really good at the end or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll see what I do with it, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly it's just the experience of creating is
Mm-hmm.
what it's about for me.
Hmm.
And
Do you
so
ever
yeah,
ask yourself like kind of why you decided to start creating? Like what sort of pushed you to be creative? Was it just sort of like an instinct that you just started moving your hands, started writing, it just kind of flowed out of you, or
city
was it almost like
for me,
therapeutic? I mean, that was for me when I started doing a lot of my creative work. I felt like it was almost like processing my unconscious thing.
everything that's
Yeah.
making noise out there, and then you
Yeah.
just put it down on whatever you're doing, creating, whether you're writing or whether you're painting, drawing, sculpting, whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is you're doing. It's just sort of, for me, I think it helps me organize my thoughts and all the feelings
Mm-hmm.
or whatever I have, swimming around, and it just puts it down.
Mm-hmm.
And not only does it feel good to do it, but then all that noise that was around is away, it's gone.
It
So
processes
it's
it
like
in some way.
it processes it and it gives you peace at the end of the day, right? It's
Yeah.
sort of out, and then it turns out that it's you love it because it's that
Yeah.
this thing that I created meant that experience that I had that was
Mm-hmm.
bothering me or that was like sort of asking me
Mm-hmm.
to come or
It's
whatever
a
it is.
channeling. It's channeling.
A channeling thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
I relate
So
to
it
that
is
word
like
when
a
you said that.
cleansing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
So this
I
was like
think a
your
lot of
first
it is
book.
that is.
You were always creative. This is your first time publishing a book. That's a different
Yes, it
experience,
is.
right? Because you obviously create, that's a very personal thing to make, right, on your own. And then just to
Yeah.
put it in the world, what's the experience of that been like? You're getting like a reception for what you're creating, and
Hugely surprising that people like
yeah,
it. Yes, people like it, and people like the art, and people like the. It's in the infancy, but like it's on Amazon, and then some people are reading it, and
mm-hmm.
like I'm getting some good reviews, and now it's coming out on Indigo, by the way. So
Yeah,
it's being uploaded. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be
exciting.
available on Indigo, which is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
So which means that it's quality, right? Like
Yeah,
it's how yeah. So
I mean, I think
I
like
am
the
hugely
a
grateful.
telltale thing about like it on some level, it's like relatable. It's like like what I found with your poems that I really liked about them is it felt like it was like a universal. It was touching on a lot of universal human experiences, which I think is like maybe what writing might be all about. What do you think about that?
Universal, what is it? Universal human experiences. I
Touch
think
on
that
that kind of content. A lot of
well,
like the
yes,
struggles that universally humans face.
yes, we as human beings go through, you know, truth. they're
Mm-hmm.
concepts. It's not that they're experiences necessarily, but we do. They're concepts that are there, and that so there's one on truth, and there's one on I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, all sorts of stuff, right? Like different
Can you
things
talk to me
that.
about your poem on truth? Because I thought that was a really cool one.
Okay, well, let me see if I can find it, because you know what? haven't even seen the book yet. So I have
Mm-hmm.
my notes, but let me find it. On truth, I had just seen it a little while ago.
Jeez. I hope this stream's working. I'm really enjoying this conversation. Maybe we'll make it worth it, but
Maybe it's not even.
I don't know.
Maybe
The
it's not
internet
working.
connection's not good.
Maybe
But
see
I'm
if I
really
can
enjoying
find
this
it. I
conversation
know
at
I can
least.
find it. So am I. So am I. It's all good. I was nervous
Yeah.
at the beginning, but now
It's a good
okay.
time.
It's okay. I love it. It's okay. We can
If
chit
not,
chat
maybe you
like
could
this
do another
forever.
shoot the shit, because I think that's what it's all about at the end. Because it says no data's
I
going
enjoy
through
it,
it,
right? Like,
and I'm just like, no.
I don't know
I
where
just
on
wanted it
truth
to work.
is. Here, let me see.
But I remember there was a
Now.
quote that how you said how powerful Troy to awaken all these things that
Here it
truth
is.
can do. Yeah, there you go. Let's hear it.
Yeah, there's on truth, on environment, the environment that we create around us at home or at
Yeah.
work or in your car, even whatever, right? Where you have your certain things that are just there for you to
They're
create,
just aligned.
to make your life easier, to just, like to feed you, right? And or to, so there's the environment one. And so yes, there are things that we do as humans, but that we don't think about, but they're there, and they're important. Very
It's kind of
important to
like
have
you
them done.
set up your environment to sort of your environment's almost like a reflection of your mind, right? Do you think so? Right?
Absolutely. Oh yeah,
And
I'm agree.
will flow if I have your painting gear set up in your room or whatever, you have your music shit set up in your room, then it's like you're flowing more energy to that stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like having things depending, like I like having my paints and my whatever. Everything is close by. It's put away, but if I get into the mood, pastels or alcohol inks or writing or whatever. And I live in a very small space, and my problem is space, right? Because I don't have enough space at all here. So I'd like to get a studio or something somewhere where I could be able to really expand and do what I need to do. But it is what it is, and I love it in here. Here it
It's
is
almost
on
kind of nice
truth.
having everything at arm's reach, everything crammed together. I almost kind of like that.
Yes, I love it. I mean, it's put away and whatever, but no, I like my colors, and I like my books, and I like my notes, and I like my files, and I like I have my iPad, my computer. I just got this one new that I love. It's a MacBook Pro.
Nice.
Because it's so cool, because I haven't had a computer in ages. I wrote Midnight Thoughts on an old Chromebook that didn't work half the time, and it was just brutal, actually.
Typewriter or something.
Well, no, I have this thing now.
Yeah,
This
but now you
MacBook
have this
Pro
thing.
is
So
awesome.
it's the new
This is
typewriter.
beautiful.
It's the new
Oh
typewriter.
yeah. So we have Untruth here. You want
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. What do you want to do? You want me to read it?
If you're down to, yeah, you could read it. We could talk about it.
Well, I have
after.
it here if you want.
Yeah, sure. Let's go for it.
Untruth. Untruth. Truth doesn't come in many colors, many shades of law, of universal law, of feelings and cultures, of history, her story. Truth can never be dirtied. It can be insanely hard to take, can and will decimate. It displaces and replaces both. Flirty wink, it can utterly destroy. It can utterly create. Truth is a favor of sight, a vision, a gift, forces surrender to make way for its path. Truth intimates to the front of the mind. It kills without mercy so that the unsustainable can finally fall, putrefy, and like everything, transform, purify to birth something new. Not necessarily good, nor pretty, nor noble. No. Truth pays no tribute, makes no it has no feeling, no emotion, passes no judgment, follows no script, plays no games, sees no games. Truth is. It forces birth. It invites death. It rips flesh and heart, forms matter, ravages on its path, so that it can emerge as is and exist. Absolute, whole, clean, clear, pure light. Its interpretation and manipulation, however, falls to mankind. There, that's
cool.
Truth.
That's awesome. That's an awesome poem.
Thank you.
Truth
I don't
is
know.
powerful.
Everybody likes a different one.
Yeah.
They're all like that.
That was one of my favorite ones in the book for sure.
And yeah, the whole book is like that. So it comes with my art, like you see, art and photography, each of them. And so yeah, it's been intense doing this. Actually, you know what? I had like 2 or 3 that were like 15 years old, like I told you. But the rest I finished, just a year ago, a year or 2 years ago, right before, and I finished it up. And literally, there wasn't much editing done at all. I did that book I did from the cover last, period at the end, and it had to be the way it had to be. It took 9 months. We had some problems with Microsoft. It kept on, misplacing the images for 9 months. And finally, yeah.
I'm curious, what was some of your inspiration for that? What were some of the truths that maybe it just came out of you?
Yeah, they're just musings or observations. Like there's what it is, and so I write what I see, or what I experience, or what my truth is as I see truth, by example, or as I see environment, or as they're like observations of how people, also as humans, we approach life and we have around, and we don't, we may or may not know.
In a way, truth kind of like it is what essentially reality is. It's like sort of like funnels energy as it's meant to be flowed.
Leave a lie up to a certain point, but it will fall.
But like
truth, it will fall, and it's a good thing that it falls.
Eventually. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, something that doesn't. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know.
It makes me think about the environment a little bit, or how
yeah,
people's lack of consideration. I don't know, we'll say, but we don't need to get too political.
No, but right now there's lots of politics around. It's interesting. We're living in very interesting times, and I hope this book actually will help with the situation that we're living right now.
Yeah.
That book, that Untruth is kind of heavy-ish, but there's a lot of it. That most of it is, like just
simple, straightforward.
Cope, of living what we're living and accepting it, and it's okay. We're gonna be okay. Just hang in there, right? Just have balance within yourself, and we're gonna see this through. Go crazy, and we might not, right?
Yeah.
But we have, it's, like this thing with the virus, by example. It's going, but we are going to be okay. Just we're coping, but it takes a certain amount of time. So just chill.
Just keep your cool and stop yelling at each other.
Yeah, keep your balance.
And when I talk to each other, and I'm saying in general, people seem to be fighting a lot out in the world.
Well, especially in the States, they're having a hard time over there.
Yeah, but the book does kind of encourage people to just, I don't know, be a little bit more grounded, I think.
Yes, that is my hope. That is my, that's what I want.
A bit more understanding too towards other people, I think it's a really important thing. Huge, like people that you'd like to collaborate with artistically, maybe visually, maybe add your poems to someone else's paintings or something like that, or
oh my God. You know why? It's never even occurred to me that I would be good enough to ask anybody. Seriously,
but maybe in dreams. How about when you're sleeping?
In dreams. No, it's not occurred to me to do that because, first of all, I don't know who's out there doing what right now. It's not like I follow it, and I should, but I haven't. I don't know. I don't know. I admire. There's so much talent out there. I feel like I'm, and
something to be said for just like even the average person that's just making art, right? I think that person's making art is almost just as profound to me as like one of the greats, You know, like a lot of people also love like punk rock music, you know, and punk rock
Sure.
music is something that's just like, that's just an average person. You know, they might not be like the person with, you know, the most experience or knowledge, but it's still like a pure, yeah, it's pure, right? And I think that's like as valuable as like even the biggest rock stars, you know.
Well, that's and we have to accept that everybody's different. There's room for every, like it's all good. It's all
Mm-hmm.
good. It's it's all part of us as humans, as a species.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we might like something, but like there is room for everybody to do their
Yeah.
thing, and as long as we're respectful, right, of
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
of everything, right? Like he doesn't need to get heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great just to like have people creating culture more. I mean, so often it's like it's so easy to consume it, and right now it's like it's the age of consumption, you know, where stuff being made
It's
online.
crazy.
But it's easy to distract yourself and not create anything. I think if a lot of people might be, I mean, right now we have so much power to be thing, but sometimes we also are inhibited by like distractions, I think too. So
Yes.
I think it's great that
Yeah.
you're out there creating, and I just want more people to keep creating.
Oh, thank you.
Average person, average
Yeah.
people too. Now, it doesn't have, you don't have to be Picasso. You just got to keep creating.
Just do your own thing. It's and you never
Yeah.
know. Like I'm telling you, like all of a sudden people like your stuff, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
hugely surprising. And
Yeah.
here we are, right? And
It's very
it's
encouraging.
amazing.
Yeah, it's
It's
encouraging.
amazing. It is very encouraging. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It is a very good thing.
Are you working on any projects right now artistically, or any projects at
I
all?
just finished writing a kid's book.
Oh yeah.
It's called Goodnight COVID, and
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be, so the text is finished, and it's sort of a book that